mainly due to the simple fact that you just flipped a player from Texas or a recruit from Texas. Absolutely. We'll continue to stand by, and I've told you as much the last 3 weeks. When alignment happens, good things can happen. You don't have time to waste at the current moment when it comes to recruiting, especially right now. Saban is out. New teams coming in like Texas and Oklahoma, you have no time to waste. You've gone up many battles against Texas. You went up in multiple ones of them last year. Colin Simmons, you were in a battle for that one. You come into today and you don't get Kade Phillips the first go around, but steady persistence and things that happen behind the scenes completely work out. This recruiting class as a whole, from top to bottom, from Bryce Underwood, Harlem Berry, to whatever kid that you like the most in this class, to all of those prospects, you're going to have to start asking yourself the question if they're not recruiting at an elite level, because, listen, they're not done. I don't think that they're done at DB. Actually, I know that they're not done at DB. They're not done at the interior of their defensive line. Know that they're not done there. They're not done along their offensive line completely. How they're going to finish out on the offensive line remains to be seen for specific reasons, not because they don't have the depth or they don't have the talent, but for very specific reasons. So there's a very good chance you could get another D lineman that's very highly coveted, multiple offensive linemen that's very highly coveted, and maybe one of the best Louisiana gems that this state has seen, in my humble opinion, in quite some time, after he locked down a kid that's already at LSU right now, last season in high school. You know, time is something that we don't look at a lot of times. And there have been bumps in the road over the last 2 years, especially not even 4 months ago, when you were in spring football and you were trying to replenish your interior defensive line room. I'm assuming that they thought that Mason Smith was coming back. I'm sure they thought that Mekhi Wingo would come back. They didn't, and left a hole in that room. You were able to battle, and you were able to do some really good things to be able to sustain that position at the current moment. You go out and get Texas's defensive line coach. Not only did you get a flip from them today in Kade Phillips, but you literally went out and got one of, let's call it what it is, one of the best interior defensive line coaches in the country. Guys, everywhere he's gone, he's had massive amounts of success. You can't take, regardless of what you think about him right now, you can't take that away from him. Can't take away from how that interior defensive line has developed from the spring until now. So you look at what everything that LSU has done, every piece that they've put together in this process. Can they continue to build off of that? You can't get better than Bryce Underwood. You can't get better than Harlem Berry because, quite honestly, you can't be better than what the best that the country delivers to you. But I look at 2026 as an example. The interior and exterior of that defensive line in this state alone, guys, if you get 3 out of the 4, which I feel like you'll get all 4, but even if you got 3 out of the 4 and the top person in that is Jakeem Stewart, guys, you're going to be one of the more talented teams in the entire country just based off of everything that you have. You add that with the X's and O's and philosophy and schematics and process with the Brian Kelly, the question starts becoming, hey, man, you have the talent. We saw you do more with less in other places. Now, it seems like in a rebuild, which, guys, this was a rebuild, you're starting to stack. Stack on stack on stack, racks on racks on racks. By the way, because you're one of the best teams in the country at having players not enter the portal. The only reason that players entered the portal in spring football was mainly due to the fact that kids were having to be processed because of an 85 scholarship limit, which, by the way, you're not going to have anymore going into the 2025 season. So I do look at this recruiting class as a whole. It doesn't miss on me what you're doing. You had to be better at DB. Corey is providing you that. There's no doubt about it. None. What Bo is providing you, what Kevin Peoples is providing you in recruiting with 2 top 100 players on the exterior at edge. You can't deny that. Brad Davis has been what Brad Davis is. He just is going to continue to stack elite offensive lines. When you start doing that, when you recruit the way that you're recruiting, guys, you will be playoff teams under Brian Kelly. It could be a bad season. It could be a great season going into 2024. But you can't deny, if you continue to stack classes like they have right now, that they will be really good. Kade Phillips did flip today from Texas. It's a big deal. A top 65 player in the country, 6'1", 185 out of Missouri City, Texas. You need DBs, and you need that room to be replenished because you're going to be losing guys. And that room is very young, but next year you'll have a junior Ashton Stamps. J.K. Johnson will, be in his senior year. You got to continue to replenish that room. And by the way, you're not done on the boundary. You're not. So you'll continue. Mike Tyler, the tight end out of Columbia, South Carolina. Guys, I don't know how you feel. This is just how I feel. When elite coaches, or let me not even say elite, when really good coaches or coaches in general constantly produce a position unit that's very elite, like Brian Kelly in offensive line, Brian Kelly in tight end, which, let me back up on tight end, because he did all of that at Notre Dame. By the way, the best tight end in the league played for Brian Kelly right now, and Travis Kelce. But I'm looking at this tight end room and listening to what Brian Kelly said in the press conference when he was asked, hey, are you going to run some 12 personnel this year? And he chuckles. Are we going to run 12 personnel? We're going to run 13 personnel. Kamarian Pimpton and Trey Green have been fantastic. And there are going to be times that you're going to get them the football, and you're going to have to watch out. Athletically, this is how I'd say it. Athletically on this team, from top to bottom, from number one player in Harold Perkins all the way down to the bottom, you're the most athletic right now than you've been under Brian Kelly. Doesn't mean anything about how the season's going to go. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. But what it can do is, hey, if Brian Kelly is as good in the process as he says, which we know that he is because he proved it at Notre Dame, we'll see how they go on. So big day, big weekend, big year in recruiting right now for the Tigers. And you have a new defensive staff in year one. So it's been really, really good.